Welcome back to Panther Sports Talk. More with UNI Athletic Director Troy Dannen. And the NCAA has been in the spotlight topic of discussion the past several weeks here. And how is it, what's going on now at the national level, impacting schools the size of the University of Northern Iowa and our athletic department here?
Well, I think a lot of people have thought all the changes are just there to benefit the Big Five leagues and will harm everybody else. I would tell you from a football standpoint, we're somewhat uniquely positioned. We're in the top 10, 15% from a financial standpoint of the FCS schools. I think what it will do eventually is bring the bottom 5 leagues in FBS football a lot closer to us. I really think 5 years out, we won't be in the MAC, but we'll be competing against the MAC schools for whatever the carrot is at the end of the season. I think that's where this is headed. We're headed towards some autonomy issues where the bigger schools will vote to do some things. We talk about cost of attendance and meals and, and other things that will maybe enhance what they can give to student athletes, but all of that will be permissive, which means anybody can do it, not just the Big Five.
Okay.
We have some decisions to make at UNI. And we're not competing against Iowa and Iowa State. We compete against them, but we're not competing against them for really what lies at the end of the season, particularly in football. But in basketball, we are. And so when you're doing that, you have to figure out what do we need to do. The greatest natural resource any college team has are the student athletes. Recruiting is the most important thing we do. So what are we going to have to make sure we provide our students at Northern Iowa that Iowa and Iowa State do? Because we are playing for the same carrot at the end of the year. We're going to be against Iowa State for an at-large spot. We're going to be against Iowa for an at-large spot in the tournament if we don't win the Missouri Valley tournament. So things like cost of attendance, things like some meals, we'll probably have to start making some financial decisions and how can we fund the things we have to do and at the same time make sure that we don't harm the experience of anybody in the department. It's going to force, if we haven't already been prioritizing, it's going to force maybe even a much more transparent prioritizing of opportunities. And it's not just on the male side. There'll be some of that to be done on the women's side as well. So, some things are still shaking out for us. I would tell you in general, I don't think UNI is a school that would line up and say we're being harmed by what's happening. The harm for us is two things. One, if the revenue sharing from the basketball tournament goes away, that's harm. Yeah. Because that's what funds the Missouri Valley Conference operations, and it's worth $400,000 or $500,000 a year to a $13 million budget at our place. The other thing that harms us is access to championships if we lose that. We want to be in the same postseason that Iowa and Iowa State are. And if that goes away, if the Division IV concept would have come to fruition and they separated themselves, we would have lost access to the same championships and we would have lost that revenue sharing piece. And those are the things that are absolute. Those things stayed whole in all of this governance change. So now we just got to make sure we position ourselves to be competitive on a national level. I would tell you, men's and women's basketball at Northern Iowa should be expecting to be in the top 50 in the country. Volleyball probably expects to be in the top 25 in the country. Wrestling expects to be top 5 in the country, and football's a top 5 team in the country. So how do we make sure we can preserve the national competitiveness of the programs that right now are in a position to be that way?
Well, we're in a good spot now and hopefully a good spot moving forward. Thanks, Troy, and it'll be a fun school year.
Thanks, I appreciate it, Eric.
Plenty more Panther Sports Talk right after this.